The 99% Radio Network, the High Seas Rally, Motorcycle Mayhem Radio, CycleFish.com, and the Gary Michael Show would like to present not only a great American patriot, he's not only my hero, my blood brother, but he's also my friend. Y'all welcome Mr. Ted Nugent.
Is this Brian, John, and Gary?
Well, 12 is not here, brother. He couldn't make it, so you just got me and Sideshow for the moment.
Well, Gary and Sideshow, happy September to everybody. Thanks for having me on, man.
Well, I want to tell you, thank you for taking the time out of the Michigan swamps looking for big nuts and trying to break them down into bite-sized morsels for all of us to take the time to give us a call. We truly appreciate it, brother. I've got one question before we get started. First and foremost, how is that ever-growing, loving family of yours?
Boy, they're loving and they're growing. I'm a breeder, so we got 12 grandkids. I got 7 kids, and my wife Shemaine and I are sitting on top of the American Dream Mountain. I got 3 wonderful dogs at my feet, Happy, Sadie, and Coco. It's the miraculous soul-cleansing hunting season. By the way, Gary, the greatest tour of my life. How dare I claim that I just wrapped up the greatest tour of my life? Because every year since 1957, did you get that, 1957? I've had the greatest rock and roll, rhythm and blues, soul music dream that a guitar player could ever, dream of. So my family's great. They're working hard, playing hard, all-American shit kickers. They put their heart and soul into everything that they do. It's kind of a Nugent mantra. So I'm a happy, happy man in spite of the toxic world around us. So there's the update for you.
Okay, well, we're going to get to that, and we're not going to keep you on very long, brother. I know. Absolutely. Jason Hartless, love him. Dude, was this tour as badass, more badass than ever any other tour that you've been on?
Well, my music has a life of its own. I mean, I was literally the offspring of the founding fathers of the greatest soundtrack in the history of mankind, Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, Little Richard, certainly turned into James Brown and Wilson Pickett. I was born in Detroit, so the unbelievable, the powerhouse, the firestorm of the Motown Funk Brothers just permeated all music lovers' lives back in Detroit when I was born in 1948. So when I get up there at the age of 75 this year, in fact, Jason Hartless, my drummer from Detroit, yes, Jason Hartless, every guitar player's dream drummer, and Johnny Big from Waco, Texas. If I'm not the luckiest guitar player in the world, I don't know who might be, because these guys just grind every song. So the point being is that in 2023, as crazy as it is, my music, I become... the best way to describe it is out of body. I just got done playing one of my 1964 Gibson Byrdlands here in the barn, in the what they call the man cave cuckoo's nest, the sonic bombastodon zone of hell. I don't know if I have more guitars or more rifles or more arrows or more bows or more knives, but I have there's an effervescent masculinity here in the Ted Nugent world. So when we get on stage, the music, it just has a life of its own. My feet never touch the ground. I thank God every day that I was turned on by Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and all those founding fathers. But I keep that spirit in every lick, every song. And what Jason and Johnny put into every night is just I tell everybody every night that tonight is the most important concert of my life, because every night is the most important concert of my life. And Jason said just a couple weeks ago, we wrapped up the gig up in Ardmore, Oklahoma, and we're doing 2 more sold-out shows in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan next week. Nice. And Jason said if the 20-year-old Ted Nugent showed up, you'd kick his ass. So I think that pretty much explains it.
Excuse me. Ted, 2 days ago, obviously, 9/11, I want to introduce to you my brother. We call him Sideshow. He was a fire chief in New York on that day, and he was there when that destruction took place, and I'd like to introduce you to him. Ted, this is Sideshow.
Hey, Ted, thank you so much for taking the time to be on here. It is a true pleasure to have you on.
Well, it's my honor, absolutely, and I know as we're not celebrating but remembering and making sure we never have to repeat it again, we had quite a memorial here at the Nugent Ranch with heroes of the Delta Force, Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, Green Berets, first responders from every imaginable walk of warriorism. And we hang our heads in mourning and in sorrow, a very somber day, but we make sure that we never do forget. So God bless you and all the warriors that rush into the fire, no matter where it may occur. We the people, know that freedom ain't free, and secure streets are not free, and a safe, secure lifestyle is because of military, law enforcement, first responders. So when I say these words, they come from all my family, my friends, my band, my crew, my hunting buddies, everybody. I mean, I meet people at the hardware store and the feed mill, and they all believe in these self-evident truths. So big salute to you, and let's make sure we never do forget.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I do appreciate that. And, I watched you the other day. You were signing your those flags, Come Take It flags. And I said, that's amazing. That should be in everybody's man cave, flying proudly above everybody's house. Those flags are wonderful.
So there is one thing, Ted, before, I know you want to say something right now, but before you do that, there was a comment that Uncle Ted made when he was on Facebook, because them fucking idiots took him off because, hey, there is no freedom of speech in this country anymore where there should be, and we need people like Ted and all of us to stand up and be that voice. However, somebody made a comment about China coming over and buying all of our farms. Uncle Ted simply made a comment, come mess with my farm and I'll use your bones for fertilizer.
That's how that works. I'm a self-evident truth kind of guy. I'm pretty cocky. I didn't invent cocky, but I did perfect it by the time I was 7. But I'm not cocky enough to think I know more than self-evident truth. And this experiment in self-government demands that we all participate. When I'm the worst human beings in the world, you're not going to. Well, you guys will understand this. Yeah, communists and Marxists and Democrats and liberals and rhinos and scammers and liars and thieves, anybody in the Joe Biden, Whoopee Cushion, Goldberg fan club are all scum of the earth. But worse than that are Americans that dare to say, I'm not into politics. Well, anybody that's not into politics, you brought this hellstorm upon us.
Amen.
You were not diligent and experimenting in self-government, and you looked the other way while we metastasized into this pure evil scum of Joe Biden and the Republican Party that won't secure the borders, that gives our money to some freak in Ukraine, that pays enemies of the United States for energy instead of being energy dominant under the great Donald Trump. So, yeah, I've got a bit of an attitude. I'm really pissed off, and I'm expressing the sincerity, the emotion, and the absolutism of real Americans, which is the only kind of Americans I hang out with, because if you're not into politics, then you're a bad, bad American, and Joe Biden would like to thank you for not being into politics and bending over and taking it in the ass.
Well, Ted, with all that said, and I don't want any more blood vessels being popped. If I could just ask you a question, what do you think about what's going on in New Mexico with the governor there?
No, she's a punk. She's an anti-American. She's Fidel Castro's best friend. She's Joe Biden's playmate. She's scum. She's an oath violator. Isn't it fascinating that we have an organization called the Oath Keepers, of which I am. I've been a sheriff deputy since 1985. I've done federal raids with the heroes of the U.S. Marshals and the Texas Rangers. I've got 14 felony arrests to my credit, which is why my guitar player is sexier than anybody else's, by the way. So I know what that oath means. It's sacred words of iron. And the New Mexico governor, the California governor, the Illinois governor, the Michigan governor, the New York, the New Jersey, the Massachusetts, the Maine governor, the New Mexico, they're violating their oath. They need to be put in a straitjacket and charged with treason. That's what's going on there.
Didn't you write a song about that? Kiss
My
called
ass. Kiss My Ass.
Yeah.
I wrote 2 songs about that. One is Come and Take It, and one is Kiss My Ass. But, yeah, what you're talking about, guys, is, when you disarm the law-abiding citizens, which was all gun control is about, you never address the glowing scourge of America, and that is engineered recidivism. All the violent crimes are repeated by monsters that have already been caught for committing the crimes, and our so-called justice system lets them out to repeat their violent crimes. It's engineered recidivism. My goose gun and my Glock and my ARs, none of my guns are a problem, many of which I have, and I'm getting more by the day. They ignore the bad guys, and they're only trying to disarm the good guys. They can kiss my well-armed ass.
They're not taking mine, I guarantee you that. They're going to have a field day if they do. Hey, Ted, we've got a couple of absolutely beautiful women sitting in here with us. I don't think you really have a problem with that, but sideshow, please.
Yeah, Miss Chesney Ann, Miss Oklahoma is sitting here, and she's a very big fan of yours, and the lovely April Wine, who runs Gary's Life here. So
Yeah,
we'd
she
like
damn
to
sure does.
introduce those two lovely ladies to you.
Anyway, they wanted to say hello, brother.
Ted, it's an absolute honor to be talking to you right now. Nice to meet you.
Well, thank you very much. I wish I was in that room because I have effervescent masculinity, and I can bring
We both wish you
much
were too.
positive spirit to the environs. But God bless. If you guys are together with my buddy Gary Michaels and Sideshow, then you guys are in the rock-solid asset column of Working Hard, Playing Hard America. And even though I'm in the man cave, by the way, I wish you guys were in my man cave
Me
cuckoo's
too.
nest. I'm doing the breaststroke in ammo right now, and I think you'd really feel at home in my man cave cuckoo's nest. Plus, my dogs are so handsome, you just fall in love.
You
with
know,
them.
that being said, sorry.
That lab is beautiful.
Yeah, how is Happy, by the way?
That's the most important thing. I don't mean to diminish the other important things in life, but we have an unhealthy attachment to our dogs, which is really what all dog owners should have.
Right.
Same.
And Sadie and Coco, they live to hunt with their dad. They live to retrieve dead stuff for us, and they have so much heart and soul. And poor Happy, he's a black-mouthed cur Catahoula lab that is the greatest hunting dog that has ever lived. And he retrieved a dove for me this morning. I finally let him try because he's been really weak lately. And it was a very emotional moment because it was only a 30-yard retrieve, and he stopped halfway and went down. He's just too weak to do what God meant him to do, and that is hunt with his sisters. And it's an emotional time, but he's alive, he's eating, and he's wagging his tail. So we're celebrating that. Shemaine has just been an angel nurse mommy to these dogs, and he's much better than he was 2 weeks ago. I was literally preparing to bury my beloved Happy, and he's alive, eating, and wagging his tail. So we're very, very celebratory here at the Nugent Ranch.
Well, keep me updated, and we definitely will be praying for you.
One of our
And the prayers worked because he was dying, and I put out on all the social media, and all the great, great Americans prayed for him, and he went from literally not being able to stand up to now he moves around pretty good. He doesn't have the energy to retrieve a bird yet, but he's a happy dog, and he wags his tail, so the prayers do work. Now we need to pray for America like that.
Yes,
No
we
shit.
do.
Hey, Ted, one of our listeners is commenting, and I think you met him years back. He runs a foundation called Hunting with Soldiers. Gordon Melton. He wants to give you a big shout out for supporting our soldiers, for keeping our amendments alive, and a big thank you from Hunting with Soldiers.
Well, and a big thank you to them. You know, I work with a lot of military and law enforcement and first responder charities. That's with the Nugent family. And again, everybody I know does that. They give and give and give. We're currently working with Tunnels to Towers,
Yes.
Operation Finally Home. There's so many wonderful, wonderful military charities. And Hunting with Soldiers, I don't know if you guys can give the website, but if you go to tednugent.com, you can find out about all these very, very important and very efficient, very, very responsible charities that help those who deserve the most help of all.
Without a doubt.
So, Ted, we're going to wrap things up here. I don't want to keep you too much longer. However, I do love the fact that Gary Michaels and Ted Nugent back at it again on the airwaves. We've done this for many, many years. Ted had asked me years ago to be his narrator for The Spirit of the Wild, which is still #1 on the Pursuit channel, Ted?
That's right. Yeah, it's been 34 years. Shemaine and I started carrying around these big vid camcorders and documenting all my celebratory hunting trips because it really is the perfect environmentalism, perfect conservation, harvesting the surplus every year to feed our families, and we donate tons of venison to the soup kitchens and the homeless shelters. So the Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild show, we don't produce it. We just push the record button, and you get my smart-ass killing stuff and butcher it into family-sized portions. So, yeah, Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild, 34 years this year.
Wow. Now
8 times a week on the Pursuit channel. And if you're not watching it, just to watch my wife, Shemaine, shoot her bow and arrow is just a magnificent experience. So everybody try to get the Pursuit channel and see the wonderful shows, especially what Shemaine does, because when she grabs a bow and arrow, I sharpen my knife.
HunterNation.com. Tell me about it.
Well, HunterNation.org. HunterNation.org is a 501c3 nonprofit that we created because tragically, we discovered when we were working with the great Donald Trump in 2016 to try to penetrate the deep state criminals that run America, we discovered an embarrassing low percentage of licensed hunters in America that even vote. They don't vote. And we won 2016 because we cattle prodded their asses, and we went, you got to be kidding me. If you believe in freedom, if you believe in the Second Amendment, if you believe in private property rights and the First Amendment, if you believe in this sacred document, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, you got to vote. And if you're not voting, the enemy is laughing in your face. So HunterNation.org is simply a charity. We don't tell anybody to vote who to vote for. We just believe that the licensed hunting families of this country are the ultimate representation of the traditional family values that created the greatest quality of life in the history of the world in the United States of America.
Well, brother, we're definitely going to support you as always.
Yes, sir.
I just want to tell you personally, I love you very much. You're a big part of my family. You always will be, Ted, and I appreciate everything you've ever done. And I hope you enjoyed your presents that our brother Brian, 12, sent you over the weekend.
Yeah, he's
yes, I got to tell you, when I shoot my M4, it's just tip. If there's a brass rainbow, I got to be chewing on a stogie. So thank you very much for that.
Well, it's our pleasure, and as always, we'll get you taken care of. But on behalf of the 99% Radio Network, 12 Sideshow, Chesney, Miss April, Ted, myself, we love you, brother. Thank you for calling.
Thank you so much, Ted.
We love you guys back. And Gary, you got a package with it. I will not comply flag and a couple of special hats coming. If you could send me an address for Sideshow in Brian 12, I'd be glad to hook them up with the I Will Not Comply personally autographed. Got a lot of mojo,
Would
man.
love that.
In fact, one guy walked down the streets of Austin with one of my autographed flags last week, and the hippies parted like the Red Sea before Moses. It was beautiful, man. So you get me those addresses, and I'll get Miss Oklahoma in April. I'll get everybody an I Will Not Comply flag and hat, and it'll bring much mojo to your American dream.
Give me a couple hours when this show's over, and I'll have it sent to you, brother.
All right, guys. God
Thank
bless
you,
America.
Ted.
Happy hunting forever, everybody.
Rock on, brother.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ted.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ted Nugent.
Man,
What'd I tell you?
He is a wealth of information.
If he doesn't inspire you to be an American, there's nobody on this planet